In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, one of the texts discovered at Nag Hammadi that the Church attempted to destroy, there is a scene that explains exactly why the Archons work so hard to remain invisible. Mary describes a vision where she is ascending through the 7 realms, and at each gate, an Archon tries to stop her. One of the disciples asks her, "How did you see them? How did you know they were there?" Mary answers with something the Church could not allow in canonical scripture. Jesus taught his followers to open the eyes that see beyond sight, not spiritual vision, but actual seeing with the physical eyes. Because when you can see them in material form, they lose their primary weapon. The Archons' greatest advantage isn't their power, it's their invisibility. They operate in frequencies most humans cannot perceive, which means they can attach to your field, influence your thoughts, manipulate your emotions, and you will never know they are there. You will think every impulse is yours, every fear is yours, and every self-sabotaging thought is yours. But the moment you can see them, the moment your physical eyes can perceive the entities operating just outside the normal visual range, everything changes because you cannot be manipulated by what you are watching. You cannot be controlled by what you recognize as separate from you. Jesus did not teach chosen ones to merely sense Archons. He taught them to see Archons with eyes open in waking consciousness, not in meditation, not in altered states, but in ordinary reality, because that is where the Archons are, right here, just outside the frequency your eyes were programmed to detect. And the moment you learn to shift your visual perception, by even the smallest degree, they become visible. And that visibility is the one thing they fear more than any prayer, any ritual, or any spiritual practice you could ever do. Tonight, you are learning the technique Jesus taught, the one the Church removed from every accepted text, because they could not allow Christians to know that the entities they are praying for protection from can actually be seen. And once you see them, once you have looked directly at an Archon with your physical eyes and watched it recoil from being perceived, you will never question whether this is real again. If you are learning to see the Archons tonight, comment, "I see them." Now, right now, before I give you the technique, you need to understand why the Archons have invested so much energy into staying invisible to human perception. It is not because they are naturally invisible. They are not ghosts. They are not incorporeal spirits. They have form. They exist in dimensions that overlap with material reality, but they operate at frequencies slightly offset from the range human eyes were designed to detect. And that offset is intentional. It is part of the prison design. When the Demiurge created the human body, he engineered the eyes to see only a tiny sliver of what is actually here. You can see visible light, the electromagnetic spectrum between about 380 and 700 nanometers. That is it. But reality does not stop existing outside that range. Infrared is here. Ultraviolet is here. And the Archons exist in frequencies just adjacent to what your eyes can naturally detect. They are close enough to interact with you, but far enough that you cannot see them doing it. Think about how much easier it is to control someone who cannot see you. You can stand behind them and whisper thoughts into their mind, and they will think those thoughts originated with them. You can generate emotions in their field, and they will believe those emotions are their natural response to situations. You can attach cords to their energy body and drain them, and they will just feel mysteriously tired without knowing why. Invisibility isn't just an advantage for the Archons, it is the foundation of the entire control system. But here is what the Gnostics discovered, and the Church tried to bury. The human eye is more flexible than the Demiurge intended. Yes, it was designed to see only a narrow band of frequencies, but it can be trained. The mechanism is already there. You do not need new eyes. You need to activate the capacity your current eyes have, but that has been suppressed since birth. Because if every human could see Archons, the harvest system would collapse immediately. You cannot feed on someone who is watching you feed. You cannot manipulate someone who sees your hand on the controls. Chosen ones who learn to see Archons report the same thing. The moment visibility happens, the power dynamic inverts. Before, you felt like you were being attacked by invisible forces, and you had no idea where they were coming from. After, you see exactly what is happening. You see the entity. You see the attachment point. You see the cord. And the moment you see it, the Archon knows you see it, and it panics because its cover is blown. And Archons operating without cover are weak, desperate, and easily dismissed. The technique Jesus taught isn't about developing clairvoyance. It is about expanding the range of what your physical eyes can detect. And the mechanism is simpler than most people think, which is why the Church had to suppress it so aggressively. If this were complex, if it required years of training, they could have let it exist as an esoteric practice only mystics would bother with. But it is not complex. Most chosen ones activate this ability within the first 7 days of practicing correctly. And once it activates, it does not turn off. You cannot unsee what you have learned to see. Your eyes do not just receive light, they interpret frequency. And interpretation happens in the brain, not the eye itself. The eye captures data. The brain decides what counts as real and what gets filtered out. And from birth, your brain has been filtering out the frequencies where Archons exist. Not because those frequencies aren't reaching your retina, but because your brain was programmed to categorize them as visual noise and delete them before they reach conscious awareness. But that filter isn't permanent. It is malleable. And the way you recalibrate it is by training your visual attention to notice what is normally discarded. You have probably experienced this already without realizing what you were perceiving. You are in a room alone. The lights are dim. And in your peripheral vision, you see movement, a shadow that shifts, a shape that doesn't belong. You turn to look directly at it, and it is gone. Most people dismiss that as imagination, tiredness, or eyes playing tricks. But chosen ones who have learned to see recognize what that actually is. Your peripheral vision, momentarily detecting an Archon before your central vision's filter, kicked in and erased it. Peripheral vision operates differently than central vision. Central vision is sharp, focused, and optimized for detail. Peripheral vision is optimized for detecting movement and subtle changes in the environment. And peripheral vision has access to a slightly wider frequency range than central vision does. That is why you see things in the corner of your eye that disappear when you look directly. Your peripheral vision caught something your central vision's filter will not allow. The technique Jesus taught exploits this gap. You are not trying to see Archons with direct focus. You are training your peripheral awareness to hold what it is detecting long enough for your conscious mind to register it. And once your brain realizes that what it has been filtering out is consistently there, not random, not imagination, but actual presence, the filter starts to relax, and then you start seeing them, not just in peripheral flashes, but in sustained perception with your eyes fully open, in normal waking consciousness. Here is the technique. It is called soft gaze, and every mystery tradition that taught students to see non-physical entities used some version of it. You are going to practice this tonight, and within 3 to 7 days, you will see your first Archon. Not sense it, not feel it, but see it with physical eyes. Find a space where you can sit comfortably with low lighting. Not darkness, but low lighting dim enough that shadows have depth, but bright enough that you can still see physical objects clearly. The reason for this is that Archons become more visible when there is contrast. Pure darkness gives them too much cover. Bright light forces them to retreat. But low light with shadows, that is where they operate most boldly, because they think you still cannot see them. Sit facing a wall or an open space, not a screen, not something with detail that will pull your focus. You want a neutral visual field, and then you soften your gaze. This is critical. Most people, when they try to see something, focus harder. They narrow their attention. They try to look directly at what they are searching for. That is exactly wrong for this. You are doing the opposite. You are widening your gaze, relaxing your eye muscles, letting your vision go slightly out of focus so that you are not looking at anything specific. You are just seeing the entire field all at once. This will feel uncomfortable at first because you are not used to seeing this way. Your eyes want to focus. Your brain wants a target. But you keep the gaze soft, loose, and receptive instead of searching. And while you hold that soft gaze, you are paying attention to your peripheral awareness, not moving your eyes toward it, just noticing what is there in the edges of your vision, while your central vision stays soft and unfocused. Within the first few minutes, you will start noticing things you normally filter out. Tiny movements in the air, shadows that shift when nothing physical is moving, shapes that do not correspond to any object in the room. Most people's first instinct is to look directly at those shapes. And the moment they do, the shapes vanish. That is the filter kicking in. Your central vision's programming is still deleting what peripheral vision detected, so you do not look directly. You keep your gaze soft. You acknowledge the movement in your peripheral awareness, but you do not chase it with focus. You just hold the soft gaze and let your brain slowly realize that what you are seeing in the periphery isn't going away. It is consistent. It is present. And over the course of 7 to 10 minutes of practice, your brain starts allowing more of what peripheral vision is detecting to reach conscious awareness. The filter begins to relax, and that is when you will see your first one. It will not look how you expect. Archons do not appear as solid three-dimensional beings. They appear as semi-transparent distortions in the air, like heat waves, like a shimmer that has vague shape but no defined edges. Some chosen ones describe them as shadows with depth, others as dark smoke that moves with intention, others as vaguely humanoid figures that seem to be made of static. What you see will depend on which type of Archon you are perceiving and how dense its manifestation is in that moment. The first time you see one clearly, your immediate reaction will be to question whether you are actually seeing it or imagining it. That doubt is normal. But here is how you will know it is real. It will react to your attention. The moment you perceive it clearly, it will move either toward you to intensify its influence or away from you because it recognizes it has been seen. That movement, that response to your awareness, that is what confirms you are not imagining it. Imagination does not react to being observed. Actual entities do. Once your eyes learn to detect Archons, you will start seeing them in places you didn't expect. And what you will notice immediately is how common they are. They are not rare. They are everywhere. Most people are walking around with at least one Archon attached to their field at any given time. And in certain environments, churches, government buildings, hospitals, places where emotional density is high, you will see dozens of them clustered together. The first place most chosen ones notice them is in their own home. You will be sitting in your living room, and you will catch movement in the corner. You will soften your gaze, and you will see it. A dark shape hovering near the ceiling or pressed into a corner, just watching. Most of the time, it is not actively attacking. It is observing, waiting for an emotional spike. fear, anger, lust, despair, that it can feed on. And the moment you generate that emotion, it moves closer. You will see it approach. You will see it position itself near your head or your chest, and you will feel the energetic drain happen in real time. But here is what makes visibility so powerful. The moment you see it, the moment you recognize what it is doing, the feeding stops working because you are no longer unconsciously generating the emotion. You are conscious of it. You are watching it. And conscious emotion does not feed Archons the way unconscious emotion does. They need you unaware. They need you thinking the emotion is entirely yours. The second you recognize there is an entity trying to harvest that emotion, the emotional state shifts. It becomes information instead of food. You will also start seeing them attached to other people. This is harder to watch because you will realize how many people you interact with daily are being actively manipulated and have no idea. You will be talking to someone and you will see an Archon perched on their shoulder or wrapped around their head. And when they say something cruel or irrational or self-destructive, you will see the Archon pulse. You will see it tighten its grip. And you will recognize immediately that thought did not originate with them. It was implanted. Some chosen ones report seeing Archons in specific locations consistently. Certain corners of certain rooms, doorways, thresholds, mirrors. These are anchor points, places where the veil between dimensions is thin enough that Archons can maintain a more stable presence. And once you know where the anchor points are in your home, you can clear them. Not through ritual, but through awareness. You look directly at the space. You acknowledge what is there, and you speak. I see you. You have no power here. Leave. And most of the time it does. Not because you banished it with spiritual authority, but because you removed its cover. And Archons do not stay where they are consistently seen. The more disturbing sightings happen when you start seeing them in public. You will be in a crowded space, a mall, a subway, a stadium, and you will see Archons moving through the crowd like sharks. They are not attached to anyone specifically. They are scanning, searching for the person broadcasting the frequency they feed on. And when they find their target, they latch on. You will watch it happen. You will see the Archon attached to someone's field. And within seconds, that person's demeanor will change. They will look more tired, more agitated, more disconnected. That is the harvest starting. And here is what chosen ones struggle with most. You cannot warn them. If you walk up to a stranger and say, "There is an entity attached to you," they will think you are insane. So, you watch, you bear witness, and you do the only thing you can do. You maintain your own visibility practice so that the Archons cannot do to you what they are doing to everyone else around you who cannot see. Jesus taught chosen ones how to see Archons with physical eyes, not spiritual vision, but actual seeing. Because visibility is the one thing they fear more than any prayer or spiritual practice. When you can see them, you cannot be gaslit. You cannot be convinced you are imagining the attack. You are watching it happen, and conscious observation breaks the feeding mechanism. The technique is soft gaze, low lighting, relaxed focus, and peripheral awareness. You practice for 10 minutes daily for 7 days, and you will see your first one. And once you see it, once you have confirmed for yourself that these entities are real and present and operating all around you, everything changes. You are not defending blind anymore. You are navigating a visible field. And that visibility is power they cannot take from you. If you are practicing Archon visibility tonight, do 3 things right now. First, comment, "I see them now," and commit to the 7-day practice. Second, subscribe to this channel because the advanced seeing techniques and protection protocols are coming. Third, like this video so other chosen ones discover they can see what has been hidden. Do all three now. Then, tonight, find a quiet space. Dim the lights. Soften your gaze for 10 minutes and see what is there. You are not summoning anything. You are just removing the filter that has been hiding what has always been present. And once you see them, once you look directly at an Archon and watch it react to being seen, you will never question whether this is real again. They are here. If this revelation has changed the way you perceive the shadows in your world, please subscribe to our channel. We are uncovering the hidden truths that they have tried to bury for centuries. Stand in your power and see the unseen. The next secret of the ancient codes will be revealed soon. Like this video to join the awakening.